Okay, this time around we're going to give the dog some audio, and we're going to set it up really similarly to the mailman. So at first we're going to add audio source, so we have that ready. Add component audio source, and then in our scripts folder, let's create a new script, a C# script, and we'll call this dog audio controller. And we'll drag and drop that onto our dog game object, and we can double click to start editing. So just like our mailman, we're gonna need to grab our audio source. You know, I can just copy and paste this, to be honest. Then we also need to have some public audio clips. And let's look at what we got. So in our audio, we have several barks. So I would like to randomly pick one of the barks whenever we do an attack. We also have a whine for when the dog gets hurt and it's game over. I think that's another one of the dog barks. And we have this really subtle walking sound. So for the audio clips, we have let's say we have a whine and a step, but also we have several different barks. So I'm going to make this an array of audio clips called barks, which we can specify the size in the inspector, and we can include a whole bunch of different barks. Great. So just like last time, we won't need update because we're just going to call a bunch of different functions. So we can say play whine sound, void play step sound. Oops. Leave me be. Here we go. And I'll also play a bark sound. So the first two are going to be very similar to how we've done the mailman audio, in which we're going to get the audio source. And we're going to play one shot. This is the whine, so play whine. In our step, we're gonna audio source, play one shot, step. And then in our bark one is going to be the most different. We're going to find a random integer depending on how large the barks is, and we'll play randomly from that random integer. So I'm going to say int rand is random dot range 0 dog barks length. Oh, not dog barks, barks. I called it differently last time, barks.length. Alright, so what this is doing is it's generating a random number between 0 and the size of this array. So for integers, it's inclusive for the first one and exclusive for the next one. So if barks.length is 9, then the maximum we can get out of rand is 8. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But this works for us because we count from 0 when we refer to specific spots in an array. So we never want to find the 9th spot in an array when the length is 9, if that makes sense. The next part is pretty similar. We're going to do audio source, and we're going to play one shot, but we need to pick a specific audio clip out of the array. So we're going to say barks, and we'll find that random audio clip to play here. Next step is in our animation is to call these different functions in our animation. So if we want to do the dead dog first, actually no. So I'll come back to this one and I'll tell you why. Let's do the attack first. So we already have a couple events for is attacking and is not attacking. But for this one, I want to play a bark sound when we attack. So we'll do 2 different events right at the start, and they sort of format it like this sort of step thing. Sometimes it gets hard to select which one of these events, but that's okay. Next is going to be like the different running. So if I do run down first, I don't want to do my event here, because if you notice, like sometimes I'm switching between states so fast that it's going to play a lot of sounds at once. So I'm not going to play audio for running until a full loop is completed, and that will help save. I'm just deleting that, me from hearing a bunch of different steps at once. So at the end here, I'm going to say play step sound, and I'll do that all for each of these running animations. And run up. Okay, so we got our attack, we got our running, and we have the dead dog one. So this one, I'm going to tell you why we don't want to put it in the event here. Because if you listen to the audio, it's not the type of thing we would want on loop, really. If I hit loop, I can... It sounds like something that happens once to a dog, and then it's okay if he keeps animating his legs, but I would prefer that plays once. So what we'll do is, when we call our dead function, in our dog controller, we can also I'm just going to move that comment up there. We can also call this function, so we can say get component dog audio controller, and then we can call one of our functions. I think we have to make it public though, so if we go to dog audio, make this a public, play bark sound. Yes. So now when we call the dead function, then we will play this once and only once. So let's test it out. Oh, you know what? We didn't tie in all of our public audio stuff. I keep forgetting to do that. So how many barks do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a yelp, 6. So let's do size of 6. And for our whine, we have dog whine. For our step, we have Ocarina of Time, dog, run. For our barks, we have, we'll just go one by one here. Dog bark cutesy, dog bark yippee, and our dog yelp. Okay, now I think we can test it out. Okay, I think the audio is good for the dog. Actually, one thing that I want to point out is if we don't like the how loud something is on a sound, we can, when we play one shot, we can also feed in a volume for that one shot. So if this whine is too loud or something, we can do a comma and say a specific volume scale like 0.75F or something like that. And I didn't test out the dead dogs. Oh, we must have tied in the wrong. Oh, we tied in yelp. Yeah, so this one is supposed to be dog whine. That is my fault. Dog whine yelp. Oh, or did we messed it up in the code maybe? We have whine, we have step, play whine sound, maybe in our animation. Dead dog, we forgot to put in, oh no, we don't need that in the animation. We said in our dog controller to play, oh, not bark sound. So I wanted to make the whine sound public, not the bark sound. We can leave the bark sound public too if we wanted to, but this guy should be play whine sound. That's my bad. I was going too quick, wasn't paying attention. Yeah, seems good. Alright, so I think we have our audio hooked up now correctly, now that I've tested all of them. And the next video should be our last one. We'll just sort of tie up some loose ends, and we will add some nice little polish effects to make it feel like a real game. Okay.